Hello and welcome to session 2 of our Delta Green game Operation Bonebox. We're playing the Iconoclasts module, which is about a team of Delta Green agents who are about to be sent to investigate something unnatural happening in Mosul in Iraq in 2016, when it is under the sway of ISIL. I'll start by asking my players to introduce themselves. Let's start with Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm playing Agent Khar.
Right, and then B.
Hi, I'm B. I'm playing Agent Hawk.
Marc.
Hi, I'm Marc, and I'm playing Agent Sandman.
Bruce.
I'm playing Agent Jones.
Tom.
Hi, I'm Tom, and I'm playing Agent Farmer.
And lastly, Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm playing Agent Pink.
We've still got a bit of a delay on your camera, Nick, but don't worry about it.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
It's better now. Better now. It seemed to have froze there. Okay, right. Okay.
Okay.
So just to remind you where we got to. So in last session, your characters watched the video, the found video, which obviously we played through in our two prequel sessions, where a team of ISIL members, some from the religious police and some from an online magazine called Dabiq, went to the house of a man called Rassam, who was a former professor at Mosul University, professor of archaeology, and searched his house to try and uncover some idolatrous artifacts to then destroy on camera and expose him for being a heathen, potentially then bring him back for potential execution. During the search, you uncovered in the video, the ISIL members uncovered a probably best as it had originally been built as a bomb shelter, but clearly been turned into a vault. They uncovered this, ended up releasing some unnatural entity from a very large bronze amphora, and which then caused absolute mayhem with a couple of the ISIL members being skinned alive on camera before the camera operator dropped the camera and then fell down skinned in front of it, rather blocking the view. After watching that, you then received a briefing from your the Delta Green operative who has brought you together, who is Colonel Gwyn from the US Army. At least that's what his identification says. And he briefed you on various other things, including, I think most importantly, was, let me find it, the where's it gone? Oh, I can't find it. The breakdown of all of the other incidents there have been. I can't remember what I call related incidents. Yeah. This list of all the related incidents.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is, and there's quite a lot. It's currently the 1st of April, and there have been no incidents in the last, I think it's 2 days, which seems to be a change to the very high frequency pattern that was going on. But as some of you commented, 2 days doesn't seem enough time to draw that conclusion safely. Okay. The other bit of information is there was a map provided. Oh, sorry, I should have clicked on that first, which I shall show to you again. And that map showing where all the incidents are. Okay. So you've got a bit of an idea that it seems to be all over the centre of Mosul, apart from the very first one, which is southeast. Okay. now.
Is the one that's southeast, that 23rd
Sorry.
one?
South, yeah, that's the very first one. That's Rassam's house.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was going to ask.
And then, oh, someone's camera's. Yep. No,
All right.
that's all right. That's all right. And then you then went on to speak to the man who had found the video and turned it over to Delta Green, who turned out to be a man calling himself Sloan, who where's Sloan's picture? Who is well, he maintains he's part of the real Delta Green, the original Delta Green, and Gwyn shut him down and stopped any discussions of politics. But he clearly is a man who has seen and done a lot with Delta Green. You had the wonderful delight of me singing as Sloan when you first met him. And he is where we finished. You had been persuading Gwyn not to execute Sloan, but to keep him, because Sloan had commented that Gwyn was debating whether to put 2 bullets in his head. Now, there's been some discussion since as to whether you actually want to. Well, there was discussion there, but there was no direct request made to Gwyn. But there is some discussion as whether you want to recruit Sloan to the team. So if that's something you'd still like to do, we can either start there and you can try and persuade Gwyn, and if he gives permission to talk to Sloan, then Sloan, or we can just move straight on to you being on the plane to Kirkuk Airport, because you just remind you you're currently in Germany.
I've been thinking that maybe that's not such a wise idea. I think perhaps we maybe want to keep him as a information source, maybe on the end of a secure telephone line or something like that. But I don't think he looks like he wants to do it. I think he's maybe been in the field too long. What do you think?
Especially since he thinks that his cover's potentially burned. That's it's finished, isn't it? One way or the other. Obviously, he'd probably like to live.
I do really think
offer
that
him,
you're
we
going
can
to shoot
offer
him.
him some usefulness at the end of his, career, as it were. An asset on the end of the phone actually could be something that is better than just retirement or a bullet. Why don't you suggest it to him?
How about we have him at the Kirkuk Space of Operations where the 3 other agents are? So he's on site, so we get a quicker response, better signal for talking to them, any video feeds we can send in. That way he's still safe to a degree and he's still within the control of the agency.
So just to be clear, Gwyn has already agreed to the first step of that, of keeping him as a source, but in Germany.
Mhm.
If you want to essentially move him, depends on what are you talking about moving? Well, sorry. Depending on what you want to do, obviously will dictate how difficult it is, but we'll role play it through the conversations through in a minute. But I'm not clear from whether you're talking about him effectively being part of the support team based in Kirkuk with a degree of freedom, or whether you're talking about moving him to a prison, assuming there's some sort of prison in Kirkuk Air Base, and moving him there.
I see no reason why he should be in prison.
There should be a decent stockade there, shouldn't there, with MPs?
I would.
I mean,
Personally, I'd say
what do we
have
know
him with the
about him
agents.
that warrants him being a prisoner, other
Is
than
he
the
a
fact
flight
that he has information?
Is he a flight risk?
That could be a reason.
Yeah. Or is he, just trying to play us a blinder and then still link back up with old Delta Green? They might have other ulterior motives that we just aren't aware of.
But he came to us. Like he wasn't captured. He wasn't forced into this. He came to us. Like it would
did.
be again. Yeah, he came willingly because they don't have the resources.
Yeah.
We have the resources, but apparently not the backbone.
That's his opinion. Gwyn clearly thinks otherwise.
Should we
Yeah.
ask Gwyn why exactly he's being detained and make a decision from what he tells us?
Okay, so let's say this conversation's taking place. You've been gathering your gear together because if you remember, I think Agent Farmer's got a briefcase strapped to his wrist with the stopper from the amphora in it and a thermite charge ready to destroy it.
Agent Hawk, if I'm remembering correctly, character I'll know right away because it was only 5 minutes ago. But you are legal, aren't you?
Say again.
You're into law and extradition and that sort of thing.
Immigration, customs, etc.
So can you beard Gwyn about why this man's being held prisoner?
Yeah, sure.
So from a
If,
legal perspective, I would imagine he's on quite shaky ground. I mean, I know this
Yes.
obviously is intelligence services, and so therefore they do what they want, but still.
Unless there's something that they're not telling us, which is
Yeah.
what I want to get to the bottom of. I'll go talk to Gwyn now.
Okay, so Gwyn comes back into the meeting room that you've all been sat in and says, right, your flight's ready for you.
Is it Colonel?
I pick up
Mr.
my
Posey.
my rucksack and I'm out the door already. I'm heading towards the
Bye.
C-130 or whatever it is.
Okay, yeah, he's wearing a U.S. Army colonel's uniform, certainly.
It is Colonel, yep. Okay. Colonel Gwyn, can I have a quick word, please?
Certainly. What's up? And are
Um,
you taking him
regarding-
to one side, or you...
Oh, just one side.
Yeah.
Like if people want to hear this conversation, they can. It's just so that I'm not having it in the middle of a fucking locker room.
Yep.
What is the current situation with Sloan? Why is he being detained?
There is the potential. So there's two reasons. First was the potential risk of him saying something about this operation to someone else while it is still going on. And the second is, as was raised by one or more of you, that he may have other useful information, in which case he may be an intelligence source. So I will I've arranged for him to be kept here for the duration of the operation.
We
and
think
despite,
that he
despite
would
his, go on, carry on.
No. You first.
Despite his assertions that I'm debating putting 2 bullets in his head, that is not necessary. He is quite right. His contacts with his organisation, they will have changed all of that. So there's no useful information to be tortured out of him, should we want to go down that route. There is. It is not to our benefit to keep him once the operation is that you are taking part in, once that is finished. So my intention is to hold him here in isolation until that point, and then release him.
Can I do a human to see if he's telling the truth?
Absolutely,
Or
absolutely.
believes that that's in in.
Can you roll up
I was
-20?
Good-
Minus
good
20.
faith.
I was actually going to say that. You probably don't want all of us doing it.
No.
Yeah,
I find
everyone can hear.
you two rolling at -20, please.
-20.
Don't forget to tick if you.
Yeah, it was already ticked anyway.
47. Yep. That's a success.
So Agent Khar, you think he's telling the truth? He
Okay.
is being honest on that, yeah. But you also are pretty certain he would have no qualms of putting bullets in his head if it was
Yes,
needed.
of course, the man's a CIA agent. I'm sure he would do anything of the sort in this situation. However, I'm going to suggest that alternatively, it might be of more value to have him on hand at the forward operating base rather than locking up in a cell here in Germany. There might be more operational value in that.
He looks at you. His demeanour changes to one of you are definitely asking something that he is not happy of. Why? Please explain, Agent Khar.
Aren't you confident that your people can keep him in hand whilst he's out and about?
Oh well.
That's not what I asked. Why do you want him in
Because
Kirkuk?
communications that we have are going to be directly with the forward operating base. Any action or activity that request is going to be coming from the forward operating base. The additional delay in communicating with a further base in Germany and getting him out of some sort of high security lockup could be critical. How long do you think, if you put him in a secure lockup, would it take you to get him into a room where he can communicate with me? Half an hour? 20 minutes at a minimum, I would have thought. Well, I'll be dead by then. So no, I don't appreciate it. I think he should be at forward operating base at hand.
I agree.
Okay. He looks around. So I think Agent Pink has already left, but the other three of you are still in the room. He looks to the other three.
Rapid intel is good intel. And as you know from organising these sorts of missions, both for Delta Green and for the standard services, speed is always of the essence.
And if he becomes a problem, just to clear, Jones and Sandman, are you in agreement on this?
Given I missed part of that because I crashed.
Yeah, Agent Sandman, you're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry, Bruce. He's asking if you're in agreement that it would be better to have Sloan taken to the base in Kirkuk where he can be more readily available as backup.
I think it'd be useful, but I think Agent Jones would be concerned about what he wanted more than what we wanted.
Okay, so sorry. So what do you say to? Gwyn is asking you for your opinion.
It would be best for the mission.
Okay. And Sandman?
Yeah, he's a mission critical asset. Having that availability where we can actually potentially have him on hand is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
And I think I'll just say, yeah, I think he's got more used to us being localized rather than being in a slammer somewhere that you've got to dig him out of.
Okay.
Unless you think he's going to actively sabotage our mission.
Well, are you prepared? Should he become problematic, to resolve the situation with lethal force?
That won't be a
That
problem.
won't be a problem.
He'll also be in the care of the agents already on site. He won't be in the team in the field.
So you're proposing he stays in the
forward operating base so that he's readily available to provide advice, because he's been to these places before.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I actually, in the back of my mind, is that if we need pulling out in a hurry, he'll be available, because I doubt very many other people amongst the personnel here have the background knowledge in, shall we call it mythos or unnatural, that he has.
Okay. Right. Agent Khar and
That's my thinking.
So Agent Khar and Agent Hawk, one of you, whichever you think is leading this persuasion attempt, can make a minus 40% persuasion.
Oof.
Yeah, to try and persuade Gwyn. He very clearly.
Persuasion a skill? Oh yeah, yes it is. Oh, I'm pretty good at it.
Which of you would like to? From the conversation, I would say it was more Khar that was leading it than Hawk.
Mm.
Yep.
Okay.
So
minus 40.
Minus 40. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
What, even with our help?
Yeah, your help got a minus 40.
All right.
Did that roll? No, no good. No good.
Oh wow. Yeah.
86. No, don't.
Oh yeah.
Oh hey.
All right. For the moment, let us keep him here. I will consider requests at some point in the future to relocate him to Cook if you feel that is necessary.
All right. Well, let's hope we don't need him in a hurry. And Hawk gets ready and goes heads out.
Yeah. I'll say no more then. I'm going to.
Okay.
Or mutter something about usual myopic
Okay.
stance or a pen pusher. Go and do your
Um,
PowerPoint.
Is Sloan still in the room?
No, Sloan. No, you're totally. Sloan's back in the.
Is he in the room that I can access?
You'll have to go. Gwyn will have to sort it out. It will require permission because he's in the base stockade, and you were escorted there by Gwyn.
Okay, he can do that.
You want to go and see Sloan
When I
again?
get there, yes, and when I get there, I'm kicking Gwyn out of the room.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Agent Pink is checking all the parachutes, wondering why everyone is taking so long to get to the plane.
Oh, if it's going to take too long, forget it.
No. That's fine. Absolutely fine. Because I'm interested in this.
No, it's good.
Right.
No, I think it's great. To be fair,
Yep.
to be honest.
Right. So.
I only want to ask if I.
Right. So Hansek. Right. What are you saying to Gwyn to get him to leave?
Sorry.
And has anyone else gone with you, or is it just Khar on his own?
No, I'm going to go
Depends
and
if
get my
Khar's
kit and go
shared
and find
what's
out
happening.
Okay.
go and see what our scheduled transport is.
Agent Hawk, could you come?
So you've asked
Just-
Agent Hawk to come.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yep.
what are you saying to Gwyn to get him to leave?
When we get to the stockade itself, we're about to go into the room. As he opens the door, I'm going to just physically impose myself in the way, if you'll excuse me, moving to one, hustle. I'm not going to say very much. I'm just going to hustle Hawk in and then close the door behind me without letting him in. I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to firmly just be.
Okay.
Wow. Brazen. I love it.
Right. I need to look at it. That's a is there an intimidation skill? What's intimidate?
There is, I think.
I just love Nick's face and
Yeah. Oh
stance
no,
alone.
I'm eating this up. This is glorious.
Uh,
All I
I
want to
love
ask is
this.
just something really trivial, but
yeah. No. But it's the
No,
it just matters to my character.
it's the power
That's it.
dynamic.
This is what I love about tabletop role-playing games. So I'm enjoying every second
Right.
of it.
I actually think it's a persuade check because I don't think
There's
there's an intimidate. Or
Okay, at minus what?
I think 0. It's straight roll because you have totally foxed and surprised Gwyn that you've done it.
That's a success.
Okay. So you Gwyn looks pissed off, but you shut the door. Sloan
Sit down.
Sloan's okay. You sit down in front of Sloan. There's one other chair if you wish it, Hawk.
Yeah. I'll take the seat. I'll just
Just
follow.
lean over
Carl's
to him
lead.
and said, I just wanted a last chance to have a chat with you quietly and in private. We're going into this situation, you being it. Is there anything additional, useful you can tell me?
Without other ears around.
You really think there's no other ears and there's no bugs in here?
No.
But I've told you everything.
Very quietly.
I've told you everything I could think of that could help. I've not held anything back.
Any green boxes or personal caches of equipment that might be useful in the area? Say that very low. We're going to be way out on a limb here.
Right.
By the way, I say we tried to arrange to get you transferred to Kirkuk to is it Kirkuk the base? Kirkuk, but Gwyn's standing firm on that. But we'll see.
You want me to come
Currently.
to Kirkuk? Are you fucking mad? I'm out,
Possibly.
man. I'm out.
All right. We won't ask too much
Not
of
in
you.
the
Then.
field.
If you're out, then you don't need anything, any assets that you've got squirreled away in the field. Haha, got him.
I think you overestimate how long our arms are and how long our reach is.
That is a shame.
I know of a number of green boxes back in the US, and I'm not giving those up to you, but they're no use to you. But green boxes in Iraq, no.
Not even an old car or something like that squirreled away. Okay,
No,
it was worth a shot.
nothing like that.
Okay, good luck.
You really wanted me to come with you? I said to you,
It was a curse. Actually, what we want, I wanted you to have on the end of have you on the end of a phone.
well, I'll take your call if Gwyn brings it to me.
Good. Well, good luck.
Enjoy your retirement. Let me leave.
I'm sure I
And then
will.
we'll head off. I'll just breeze my way past Gwyn.
Okay. He lets it drop and follows you out, and then checks that all 6 of you are on the plane. Okay. Anything to do anything else before you travel to Kirkuk?
The only thing is, I'll just tell the other members of the team about that exchange, just that he couldn't provide any useful assets or information in the area beyond it. He's not prepared to. And I think I might have
really
pissed off Gwyn, but
never mind.
I'm sure I'll get over it. You're
Right.
muted, Nick.
So, Colonel, can we stop at McDonald's along the way? I get hungry on long flights.
He just shakes his head, sees that all 6 are on the plane, and walks away. Right. Okay. I can't remember how long the flight to Kirkuk is, but
I hope we're not on a C-130. It's bloody noisy.
Yeah.
We got off.
we are on a C-130, aren't we?
yeah, you are on a C-130.
Yeah. Oh,
A C-130
no.
just
Takes
for
ages.
you. Just for you.
Why can't we get a C-17? They got loads of them hanging around.
Okay.
Hey, my grandpa flew C-130s.
All right.
That's
We got our
something,
phones
doesn't
back
it?
and everything,
The
didn't we?
noble.
Yeah.
It's a noble plane.
Yeah, you've got you've got your phones back and you've got personal gear.
Yeah.
Right. Now,
How long are we expecting this mission to take, just as a general? Is this supposed to be, like, does this have a time frame to it? Like, are
As
we
soon-
expected
as
to be
soo-
back
as-
home in 2 weeks or whatever?
Gwyn has not specified anything. As soon as possible, but clearly, I mean, things have been going on for 10 days or so already before you're even getting involved. So,
Yeah.
the cat is out of the bag to some degree. It's in the middle of a war zone, so horrific things are going on, and either they're being explained, or if there is something, if people do think it's something supernatural, it's not made it onto any form of ISIS propaganda. And essentially, you need to complete this as quickly as possible. But you've not been given a time frame.
Okay.
You were
Just
probably
told be
briefed.
as
You
expedient
probably,
as quick as possible, wasn't it?
yeah, you've probably been briefed to bring yourself enough clothing to last for 2 weeks, but there will be the ability
Yeah.
to procure more clothing as needed.
Can I send a text on my personal phone before we go?
Yep.
And then take the battery out of the phone and just store those separately.
Yep. And is that a personal one, or is that to your any? Gone. Sorry.
Personal
Personal.
message, just
Okay.
to 2 people saying, "Hey, gonna be out of contact for a while. Don't fret.
Yep.
I'll be
Okay.
back when I'm back."
If any of you need to do any personal stuff like that, by all means, that can be done. Gwyn has already set up explanations for your work as to cover your absence from work. And if we need to, we can work out whether that is you're on a training op or you've been redeployed somewhere else temporarily or whatever. But it's something that's been, some cover story has been concocted. Right, you land in Kirkuk Airport.
Question.
Oh, gone.
Check the phone and the briefcase. See if it's got tracking.
Okay.
I know he kept the phones all in his pocket, but he could have a really good sleight of hand.
Right. So that would be
Yeah, little known fact, Colonel Gwyn also card sharp.
right. So that would be, I believe, Is that SIGINT or is that search?
Search looking for something. SIGINT is working out what it is,
Yeah.
isn't it? Or actually
Yeah, I think that's
intercepting it.
right. Hang on a sec.
Yeah.
Let me just double check.
That's quite a good question.
Bearing in
actually.
mind, one of them's got a thermite charge and we're actually flying. I mean, it's never a good plan to do these things together.
None of this is
But
good. None of
hey,
this is good.
I kind of figure we could perhaps look for the case when we land.
Well, see, I think
I'd,
it might be a
I'd
SIGINT.
take an active risk assessment on that one.
No,
Don't
searching
worry,
and find.
I'm a trained parajumper.
Right. So searching and finding something that's been planted on your phone or in. Bear in mind, there's two cases. There's actually one with the amphora stopper with the elder sign on it that's attached to farmer's wrist. But there's also another one that had $112,000 in used $100 bills. They're actually all dated. I think it's pre-2003. So they're all dollars that could have come into the country from the invasion to overthrow Saddam Hussein. So they're all sort of older bills.
Who has that one?
I can't remember who took that. Who's got the briefcase with the money in it?
Yes,
Yep.
pick Agent Jones.
Yeah,
He's
I have.
sensible.
I got that briefcase with everything. So it had it wasn't actually interested in the money per se. It was interested in all the information and the other bits and pieces that went with it.
absolutely.
And a copy
Yeah,
of
well,
a full copy of
Sure.
the video and so on. Right. So I mean, you could
yeah,
right
yeah.
on the flight if you want to, you could start trying to watch the full coverage of the video and stuff like that.
Yep.
Okay. So right. So first of all, sorry, searching for things that have been put onto physical things that have been put onto your phone or odd things in either of the cases is a search check. So anyone who wishes to do that may do that. Please tell me what you're searching though with your own phone, someone else's phone, or either of the cases.
I'll just check my phone and just mention it to the rest of them in case they put something on it to track
In fact,
us. Are we
actually,
happy with that?
if you've got a search of 40 or more, you don't need to roll. It's automatic.
Yes,
I
I
need to
have.
start doing that.
Okay.
Doing that. So you've got a search of 40 or more.
Auto success.
Yeah. Okay. And
Yep.
sorry, and Jones as well. Right. So checking around all the phones and so on, nothing has physically been implanted on any of them, and there's nothing odd in either of the cases besides the actual contents. Okay.
I'm taking the opposite approach, the other approach to telephone security. I'm chucking my telephone into the bin or out the window, whatever.
Out the window.
So you're just discarding your phone.
I'm just using it.
Okay. Right. Jones, you're going to watch the video. The full.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
We've all
I'll.
got a chance to watch this or not. Is it on? Was it on a tablet? Is it?
He's given you a chip. Sorry, not a chip. A memory
SD
key.
card.
Yeah, a memory key with it on or something like that.
Yeah.
It was.
C-130s are infamous for their infotainment systems, right? So we can just pipe it through to everybody's seats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
no.
Yes, that's true.
That sounds.
But in more being more realistic, which of you think your characters have as part of the standard equipment a computer?
Yes.
Okay.
Was that B as well? Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
So
think.
my hand's blurry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So I think you've got 3 laptops. So you could all crouch around a laptop. And
Copy the files over to the other laptops.
I think the way it's. I think it's a non. It's actually designed that it stops you.
Yeah, that
A
is
non-transferable.
That is a thing.
It's described as a non-transferable thumb drive.
That's a thing. So yeah.
But you can share your screen with another computer, so just a couple of HDMI cables, and there's
Okay.
3 computers
Yep.
showing it.
And
so-
I'm sure between you can do that. Okay, so you can set. So do all 6 of you wish to watch the full version of the video?
I mean, I got nothing better to do on this flight. Might as well.
Okay, so
I do want to be keeping an eye on the video, but I want to be checking all of my stuff, that all the batteries are
yeah.
charged, all of that sort of stuff.
Yep.
I've got all of the gear that I need to ping you over the list as well. But
yeah, certainly. I'm quite generous when it comes to gear, as you will discover shortly.
I've gone quite sad, and I've actually got chosen actual gear and that
Okay,
is in
that's
existence.
fine. You know me,
So,
I'm a total nerd when it comes to details.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So just to remind you of the things that you'd spotted last time. Just to remind you, from it you've got a count of people present: 10 men and 1 woman. And from Sloane's, it sounds like the woman and one of the ISIL men, not the older man who had 1 arm, but one of the other men, were not accounted for when he arrived. So it looks like 2 people got away, and someone died sort of almost in the doorway out of the from the back of the tunnel into the swimming pool. Also, there were books on the shelves in the sort of vault. They appeared to be hand-bound journals rather than professionally bound books. You got remind you, you've got the image of the words on the amphora, which is on our lovely
Yeah.
desktop. There were images of the words formed in the air, which were just serve and kneel in various languages. And now, I can't remember if I did this yet. Did any of you make human rolls for judging Rassam's psychological profile based on what you can see on the video? Did we talk about that yet?
I know I failed a
Yeah.
human roll last time, but I can't remember what it was for.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be what I
yeah.
failed then.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think someone figured out that it actually got to a point where he suddenly wanted to die. Was the
Yes.
Yeah, he was trying to provoke.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Going through the video now with yourself, able to stop and
That'll be potentially a quite frustrating thing with Agent Jones because he'll get into the details. He'll want to stop, zoom in to see if he can read what's the title of a book in the background and be taking furious and copious notes in a journal and kind of with a pencil kind of furiously taking notes and trying to
right.
Get as much information as he can down on paper.
All right. There are a couple of bits of information you do pick up. Right. I think so. What are your search skills?
40.
20.
50.
Kind of missed that one.
Anyone got higher than 50?
I've got 50 on the dot.
What was yours?
I got 60.
60. Okay.
40 for me.
Yeah. So, you're going to have to take some time with some computer enhancement to get it, but there is
Can I
at
use
one.
a computer science roll?
No, as in, sorry, I mean not now, but something when you've got.
Oh, gotcha.
At some point later, and computer science role would be exactly the required thing. At one point, fairly early on the video, there's an image of the ISIL order to giving instruction to search the property. So that may have some use. That may have information on it. I don't know. You've also started to compile a list of all the names of the ISIL people and the 3 people present there. Very handily at the start of the video, they start by giving some names and introductions. So that's another avenue that you could try and research who some of those are.
It'd be useful also close to the end, Andy, to try and figure out who's missing.
Yep, certainly. So absolutely, definitely confirmed killed were the first 2 swarmed were where have we gone? Alan and Elam, and then Arshad was the cameraman who falls and starts to block the camera. Okay. The there's lots more screaming because the camera continued rolling. It's unclear from that just how exactly who has died, but clear.
That's screaming in an Australian accent.
I don't
How
think when
to
you're
scream
screaming
in
you
an
can tell an
Aussie
accent like that.
Or slightly French. You can be slightly French.
Right.
Oh, no.
So the only 3 confirmed deaths you have at the present moment are Alan, Arshad, and Elam. Though from Sloane's report, it's fairly clear that Rassam, Al-Mundis, and Timur, who was the technically in charge of the ISIL team, they were they also he from his description their bodies were also present. So unaccounted for are Gorkan, Khalid, and Qasim, and the girl is clearly also escaped. Okay. Oh, sorry,
Gorgon
and one more, who is Faisal, who was the another member of the ISIL team. Okay, do you remember he was the guy? Faisal was the one who
the
had.
one that like bunny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something else with your skill of 60 that you spot. After all the screaming is finished, and it's just for a while. There's just an image of a bloody face that you're assuming is Arshad, the cameraman. It blocks most of the screen, but something like an hour after all the fighting and so on had finished, Agent Jones, you spot. You'd seen originally this sort of looks like an insect swarm flying around, and then but then zooming in, you can when they come close to the camera, you can see that they're actually little small obsidian shards. But at one point, after about an hour after they've been released and people have been killed, you see them flying up, zooming up into the sort of up the top of the camera, at the top of the camera angle, into what you see just in the top corner, what you think looks like some sort of air vent going upwards in the ceiling.
We should have blocked that air vent.
Yeah, well, we didn't.
And then the last thing you pick out for the moment is right towards the end. You start to hear the sound of someone, possibly more than one person, sort of moving around, and the sort of crunch of their feet, and then someone picks up the camera, and you've got some jerky movement, and then the camera's turned off, and just before just before the camera gets turned off, you're able to freeze frame it and get a side-on view of what is almost certainly Sloane, which fits with what he said. Yeah, he said he and his partner had recovered the video, but his partner is not seen in it.
I mentioned that there were.
Yeah, you're fine, Bruce. Sorry, I thought you were on mute, but you're fine.
No. The Sloan mentioned that as he went in, that he saw a body that had been running away. Did he identify that body?
No. He said there was one that looked like its legs had been shredded, and there were other and there were cuts on it, but the skin was still present on the face, but there's no he didn't photograph it or anything like that.
Do we get a clear view going back in the video at the point where we can see, before they even interfere with it, the amphora.
Absolutely. That's where,
Can
because
I
you've got a photograph at one point, which is the writing that's been translated from Arcadian.
So, can I say to Agent Jones, how old, like, where's that from? Is that ancient, Arcadian? What is it? Where's it come from? What era? Do you know?
Do I know?
Say again, sorry.
Do I know? What sort of
What is
period
your
that might be from?
archaeology? Archaeology?
70.
Absolutely. So, hang on a sec. I just need to. Oh, hang on a sec. Excuse me while the referee finds the handler finds the correct selection in the book.
Handler, goddammit. Oops.
Yes.
It's easier just to call in the GM.
Yeah.
Right.
They Greeks.
Right.
Greek to me.
A couple of thousand BC, I'd guess.
Yeah, it's sort of Arcadian Aramaic.
Aramaic.
Aramaic. That's what I meant.
Aramaic.
Sorry, apologies. And Sumerian, that sort of time. So that is about, from memory, it's about.
A very flowery
Yes,
language.
yes, a very-
It's
yeah.
aromatic.
It's.
Fragrant. Sorry.
I think you'd be able to make more analysis once you actually can look at the physical amphora itself. But it's odd because rarely would someone make an amphora that large.
Yeah.
And if they made it that large, it probably wouldn't have been made out of bronze.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at sort of 3 to 2,000 years before BC. You know, we're talking about 4 or 5,000 years ago.
I'm
Sort of early
thinking.
Egyptian similarities.
I'm thinking if there's some way we can sort of whittle down a mythology behind these black dots that are flying around, whether there's anything that can be searched for. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a history buff or whatever, but
I think I'd need access to a
You're the
substantial
internet.
library to have any chance of anything. The internet.
Yeah, just straight internet.
Wikipedia, right? Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
Wikipedia
exactly.
will have it right.
Hey, listen, Wikipedia
Every
gets a bad
time.
rep.
Oh, look,
Gets
they
a
need more
bad
funding.
rep, but
It really does.
It does need more funding.
It's quite shallow for our purposes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
you get a little bit, but you won't get the deep. You know, if
Want
you've
some
got like a
proper-
reference textbook or something like that, you know.
yeah, but
Proper
the
leather-bound books.
thing with Wikipedia, you can point us in the right direction. So let's start easy and go deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But our characters can figure out how to do clever research.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
Hi, analyst.
Right.
Yeah.
So unless you've got anything else to do on the plane, and to be honest, that we're now watching the full length of the video, which is quite long. Unless you've got anything you want to do, I'm going to move on.
Is there anything else in the briefcase of stuff? We've got we've got the video, the money, but is there anything else that's interesting, or should we just move on?
It's just all the briefing material, the handouts I gave you. Essentially, all that information is in there as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Did they get any footage of those tablets because they were being held up, the clay ones?
Right. That's a very good point. Sorry, very good
Because they
point.
might be able to read it. They said that they didn't have all of them.
right. So
Ratsam hadn't collected them all.
here is an example of one of the tablets. Yeah. Further investigation we needed to read them fully, but that looks to be about the same sort of time period, Arcadian in origin as well. Okay,
3000 BCE. Okay.
something like that. Yeah. Okay.
If I've got any time spare, I'll while away at trying to translate it.
To be honest, you haven't, because you spent the whole time watching
That's fine.
the video. Yeah. Okay. Right. You land at Kirkuk Airport, which looks like this. If you look on that map, does the map popped up?
Yeah.
And you literally land and are met by I've forgotten his name already. Agent Vanguard, who's the security guy, and he arrives with a truck for you and all your gear, and then drives you across from literally. You don't go through any. You don't go through any customs or anything like that. You
Just off the
arrive, and then are just escorted by him. Almost no distance at all. He's got a truck in case you've got a lot of gear. It actually probably would have been easier to walk. And you're taken across to. Do you see the little yellow pin?
Yeah.
Because you're Task Force 01132, and that's your CIA designation. Because just to remind you, your cover as a team is that you're a CIA team hunting down a particular high-level ISIL. They love to use the word ISIL actor. Someone senior within ISIL. Yeah. Okay, and that base turns out to be this. A very large double mobile office trailer.
It's been great in the heat.
Yeah, well, have you ever read through? There's a bit of a description there of what's with it. It's got air conditioning. It's basically split into three, actually four if you include the small bathroom shower room. But you've got a very large sort of general conference area. A very small washroom with one shower for you all to share, and then two small bedrooms, one with 3 double bunks for the men and another with 2 double bunks for the women. The conference room it's really well laid out with all the sort of gear. Important, you've got 4 encrypted satellite phones. There are 2 computers here at the present moment, which are for the other 2 agents, who are Juliet and Stewart. There's a little kitchenette on one side with sort of basic food supplies, though clearly there are much better food options on base. And then, just to be clear, for those of you who've experienced this before, there's also 2 shipping containers on the far side of the image. There's 2 shipping containers that have been essentially attached to the side for storage, and that they can only be accessed by going through the trailer. One is for mission equipment and has a lot more equipment in it. We'll come to what that is as and when it's necessary, but there's weapons and body armor and clothing of US military issue and clothing of potential disguises for ISIL membership and things like that.
Wardrobe department.
Wardrobe department, very good way of putting it. And the other is empty. You can either use it as something like a lab, or if you need somewhere to store things you've recovered. But last point is, for those that have used it, it's not what's called a SCIF, a sensitive compartmented information facility. So it's not hardened against eavesdropping, and so you need to take precautions for surveillance or intrusion. But you are in. It's physically in. You're in the part of the airport assigned to US Air Force logistical personnel. So the other trailers around you are occupied by US Air Force personnel, and not far away is some form of mess facilities and so on. So getting food and so on is not a problem,
Awesome.
etc.
They have the best food.
Yes,
Mm.
they do. Okay. And obviously you meet your oh no, wrong thing. Don't go there. Your the three other agents who are already here. So they are. I've already shared these, but just to be clear, so Agent Juliet, who has two functions. Rather than role playing through this, I'll just give you a brief download on them. Agent Juliet is she's there to be technically the agent in charge, the case officer. Okay, as far as the CIA are concerned. So any questions about how you're getting on and things like that come up, or who you are or what you're doing, would go to her. That doesn't mean she's in charge. It means the CIA thinks she's in charge. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She's also an intelligence analyst, so she's able to provide additional intelligence analyst support. Agent Steward is described as a logistics officer. It's clear that she is someone who is good at organising and getting hold of bits of equipment that you want. Okay, and she has already done a degree of pre-organisation of that, getting the wardrobe stuff, getting the facilities you're physically staying in, getting weapons and ammunition and so on. Okay. And then lastly, Agent Vanguard is just described as security.
Don't recognise him.
Give me a I'm just trying to think. Sandman and Pink.
Yeah.
I think just you two can give me a luck check, but Pink, you be at -20. Sandman,
Mhm.
you'd be at full chance.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Luck -20.
All right.
Okay, you don't recognise him.
Who?
Yep. Have you managed to do a luck at -20, Nick?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, neither of you recognise him. Okay, that's fine.
Maybe on a fumble he recognises Agent Sandman.
Yeah, I mean, even better. Yeah, just,
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. Right, and that's right, and they are keen to understand what you want to do now.
I think there's a matter of us arranging our identities while we're here, isn't there?
Sorry, that's a very good point. So Stuart has got identity sorted out for all of you, which we need to work out.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to go for a quick bathroom break myself. Do you want to, as a group, do you want to discuss what you want to do? And
Okay.
yeah, and I'll leave you doing that. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
mm-hmm.
All right.
You back on the plane? Go home?
All right. All right. He's gone. We can all go.
Done.
This sand plays havoc with my hair. Clearly, my character has more than I do, but you know.
The point of playing roleplay games, though, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, you just remember hair.
I have hair when you don't have it.
Don't have hair when
do
you
we
do
want?
that.
So
Do
first
Go
off is establishing our cover stories, but then also the first thing was don't we need to get to the Rassam place to
Yeah, I
actually
think
see
That
what
is,
we
I
can.
recommend the starting
Yeah.
move. Yes.
finding a way to gain entry there and gather what evidence we can as quickly as we
No.
can before it
Um,
gets interfered with or goes too cold would be a good idea, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's what?
But it is
30 people there,
completely
though?
surrounded.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a completely overrun with. Is it ISIL members?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't
I did
remember.
have an idea for that one. It's a very simple one, which is basically they're going to be using like burner phone type things.
Right.
Take hack into their signal, call them, and have them report to we called for something else.
Could do.
Okay.
Just
Send
to
them
get
I see
a-
them
what
to
you're
say,
saying. Bavarian fire drill, essentially.
yeah,
Or even just find out from our analyst, from Agent Juliet, who the local bigwig actors are, and potentially could use them as a call away.
That would be quite a bold move, and certainly have somebody out looking for.
Yeah,
I'm not discrediting it. I think it's a damn good idea. It's just that it's a. If we're going to do that, we'd have to like make sure that they don't find out that it's us for as long as possible.
Right.
yeah,
They can't trace it back because we've got some time to spend here, and if we already put a big old marker on our backs so early on, we're going to have to be damn sure that they don't trace it back to us.
Right.
Rasan's compound is to the front line, if you like. How deep it is into ISIL territory, or is it right on the edge?
I'm just looking at the map of ISIL territory, so it's Mosul is. Which was a scale on this thing?
So I was just wondering if it would be possible to have like a US forces kind of attacking in that area to draw ISIL off.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
idea,
Like
right
you.
Quite a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
Most of the forces,
Or at least reports of it.
most of the forces
Kurdish.
are not US. Most of the
They're
forces
Kurdish, aren't they?
are Kurdish and Iraqi army.
Yeah.
Well, an attack. If it was close to the border, it kind of would make sense for that to happen. They might be drawn off. I was just thinking if we didn't want it to come back on us. If it's far away, then it makes no sense, right? Unless we're going to be talking like special forces or something stupid.
no, we're not talking special forces. I don't think that
Yeah.
that's going
Well-
to bring attention to that actual site. At the moment, they're just guarding it. If we show a very direct interest in it, they're going to want to react more than just.
Right. Let's give you some more information. Okay, so Stuart has got some.
So just an observation for everybody. Just so I've just looked it up. Kirkuk is about 2 hours, 2.25 hours to Mosul. So yeah,
So we've
we're
got
not-
But
that time.
if you were to
We can-
drive that, you'd be driving through the front line.
Yeah.
Which,
I know. I'm just making the observation.
Okay.
I had no idea. So the map that you've given us, Andy, on the thing hasn't got a scale on
oh,
it.
is it not? Apologies.
So,
Right.
I've just looked that up. So that it's 177 kilometers down route 3. So
Right.
yeah, just so we're aware.
So
It would be so. I mean, my character is massively experienced at this sort of thing. I am not. What would be the appropriate? I've got tradecraft as one of my special skills. What would be the best or appropriate ways to be getting ourselves across the desert from Kirkuk to Mosul?
Right.
Just so with that, I've actually got military science with land tactics as a special.
We're less worried about Mosul though, aren't we? To getting to Rasan's compound first.
So let me give you a bit more
It's nearby. That's my point. It's
Oh,
nearby.
okay. Yeah, I didn't know where it was in relation. So
The compound's only a couple of miles outside.
So helpfully, I have to put a scale on this, so that's really unhelpful to me. But here's another map to show you. This is something that Stuart shares with you. So what's going on at the present moment is Operation Conquest, and there are a number of attacks going on, and this it's not just this, but there's a one line of advance. Is along this road through I think it's called Macnor, I think Macmore or something like that.
Yeah, I think that is MUR.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, yeah. And then to Al Khayara, which is near. There's a massive old from the time of the overthrow of Saddam. There's a big airfield, Qaish airfield. I mean, you can see on the scale of that on the map. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a
Huge
satellite image. Huge.
Massive airbase.
That then was abandoned and has been used by ISIL as a base. But there's a drive going on this road to gain control along here. Essentially, Mosul.
Tactical advisor just arrived.
Sorry,
My tactical advisor just arrived. Sorry, distraction. The dog.
the dog. Okay, right. Yes.
But just comparing this to Google Maps for a moment, the distance between the M on the Mosul and the Rassam residence is about 20 kilometers.
Okay.
Oh.
So that gives you some scale. Now, the fighting. So just if you see, you've got from Mosul, you've got the Tigris River running south. Yeah, and that is a major impediment to travel. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of military action about bridges. So this drive here along this this particular branch of Operation Conquest, what they're trying to do with Operation Conquest is they're trying to surround Mosul. The north and northeast has already been surrounded historically by Kurdish troops. And the Kurdish troops are commanded out of Erbil, which you can see sort of on the right-hand side. Okay, and so there's drive by more Kurdish and Iraqi forces to try and start surrounding the south. So at the present moment, they're trying to take control of all these small towns and large villages to the south of Mosul to basically gain control before they're clearly driving up the road that the Rassam residence is on. Okay, but at the present moment, Stuart tells you there is fighting going on around this Makmur town. Okay, so trying to cross the river by vehicle is risky because you are at risk of being either uncovered by ISIL troops or shot at by ISIL troops who don't realise who you are, or if you're in disguise, or sorry, who you're posing to be rather, or if you're in disguise, potentially being engaged by Iraqi army or Kurdish forces. Steward has managed to obtain 3 vehicles for you at the present moment. 2, bear in mind, ISIL has at points captured quite substantial amounts of US military gear that had been given to the Iraqi army. And so Steward has managed to procure 2 recaptured Humvees, armoured Humvees, which have been decorated by ISIL to look as ISIL vehicles. So those can go in as those can be used as sort of undercover vehicles if you wish. She's also obtained a slightly larger truck because she's been told. One thing to be clear: none of these 3 have seen the video. Okay, none of these 3 have seen the video. Sorry, that's very important. But she's been told there might be the need to move quite substantial amounts of artifacts. So in case a Humvee is not got enough storage space, she's also procured a truck.
To be honest, the truck will probably look more innocuous anyway. Depends how I want to approach this. Approach this.
Okay.
Man of curiosity,
Sorry
if you covered this while I was distracted. What ways do we have across the Tigris apart from
So haven't covered that at all.
Mode?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. She can also arrange, though it can't happen instantly, but it can be arranged, heliborne transport from the US Air Force on this base to take you with vehicles somewhere. Yep. If you want to approach the Mosul area from the west, then I think this is probably coming from Juliet, actually, or Juliet or Vanguard, actually, one of the three of them. It would be probably better to go and be dropped somewhere in the desert further west and drive in from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Long Highway 1.
Yeah, somewhere. Somewhere further west. I mean, Bruce looked up. He said it was 20 kilometers from Mosul to the Rassam residence. So, I mean, probably looping round and coming in sort of 40-ish kilometers plus, maybe even. There are tracks to drive around there. It is hilly at points, but there are tracks to drive around there.
I've got 2 suggestions that aren't too far, and it's about going to be roughly 20k, and that will be if you go to the west, Mahal Lavea or Gazelle. I can't quite make it out on my screen.
Sorry, I've got the wrong map up. Hang on a sec. Where did that go? Operation
Yeah,
Cox.
just west to Rassam. It's like at a triangle. You got.
Yeah.
Sorry, where?
Can't pronounce.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Gazelle. I can't make it out on my screen. Or Mahalabaya.
Yeah.
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 So,
Okay.
I'm totally butchering these names, and I apologise.
Yeah. Well, I apologise as well. We will do our best.
Yeah, I'm gonna apologize in advance as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gonna happen to me
Pre-apology.
at least
I
once.
think I've been pronouncing.
Blanket.
I think I've been mispronouncing. It's not Arcadian. It's Akkad. Is it Akkadian?
Akkadian.
Akkadian. Sorry.
Arcadian is very.
Yeah.
Very old computer game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Akkadian. Apologies. Right. Then. Right. Other information that Stewart has. So Stewart, she's been told about the Rassam residence, and she has had a drone observing it. And the Rassam residence. Have I actually got that as a? Yeah. Right. Okay.
I've just found the Rassam residence in Google.
It's been slightly modified, as you may have noticed. Yeah.
Yeah, not by Arch.
No. What was I going to say? Sorry, where's that gone?
Is that airstrip to the south ISIL controlled or?
ISIL controlled, yes.
All right.
Oh dear, where's that handout gone?
So when they talked about airdropping us in vehicles, was that going to be by helicopter so that we could land somewhere relatively sensible?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
That strikes me as being the easiest way around all the garbage. I don't particularly want to travel by road for a front line.
Right.
The only concern I have with the vehicles that we've got access to is that the 2 Humvees have been repurposed and branded as ISIL vehicles, which whilst we're in the ISIL territory, fantastic, but as soon as Operation Conquest starts coming up, we're screwed. We have to ditch them and get other vehicles.
Okay.
Honestly, I wonder if a couple of old battered cars or 4x4s of the type that was it they use Hiluxes?
Yeah,
was a popular one, isn't it?
Honestly,
a couple of battered Hiluxes.
Yeah, some old Toyotas.
Right.
Toyota.
With the Humvees, Stuart will just put one other piece of information. Just so you understand, says Stuart, as well as, I mean, there are quite a number being used by ISIL, but also they have electronic identifiers. So you can turn these electronic identifiers on to flag them as a friendly vehicle. Okay.
RFID chips. Cool.
Yep.
No problem.
But there
are got blue Ford trackers.
There are pros and cons to this. If you we know that ISIL are actively searching for these. So it's an ID that you might want to turn on while you're travelling in areas where you're at risk of being attacked by US aircraft. Yep.
Yeah.
But then you might want to be turning it off once you get into contact with ISIL forces.
To be honest, how dependable are these as well? I mean, if an aircraft sees you and starts coming in at you, how reliable is it that if we switch it on, then it'll be effective?
Blue Force
I
trackers
couldn't
are
comment.
extremely reliable.
Sorry?
Yeah, Blue Force trackers are really reliable. What's not reliable is the ground terminals that are in the vehicles, because there have been
Right.
cases where those have been rattled loose by shocks from IEDs and things like that, which have screwed up the screens or messed up the picture or messed up the tracking software. So that's what you really have to worry about with those. From an aircraft, it'd be pretty reliable though, as long as the transmitter is broadcasting.
Yeah, okay.
So basically, we could, I could probably reinforce this and double check all the housing to make sure that it's secure before we head out, and like reinforce it so it's less likely to be an issue.
Right. Okay. Some more. Stuart has some more information. Yeah. So Stuart says, if you want me to get additional vehicles, then I can certainly do that. It might take me a day or two to get those, but I'll see what I can do on that. And sorry, there should be a map for this, but I don't appear to have imported it into Roll20, so I don't know. I'll sort that out for next time. But if I just take you, to this map. Stuart says, I've got a drone overflying the compound at the present moment, and there are. Sorry, let me just get down to her notes. So there are there appears to be some sort of walls of some previous building here. Are you seeing me pinging on the map?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've counted 27 heat signatures in this location. They are quite spread out though. So there appears, my guess, our educated guess from the three of us studying it, we think that there's this has been turned into some sort of fortified position with a couple of machine guns to cover the road. Okay. The rest of the people appear to be camping in these orchards or these orchards. Yeah, most of the heat signatures are people who appear to be at rest around here. Yeah, and there appear to be 2 pairs of guards at any one time patrolling around the house, but they always stay outside the outer wall of the house. They do not go into the compound at all. And if you remember, this compound, it's visible on the video. The compound wall is about 7, 8 feet tall. I can't remember something. It's tall enough you can't see over it, and it's got glass across the top, all the way around. And there was one door, one gate. Sorry, here, and then there was a back gate here.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's it, I remember.
and that's the swimming pool, and that's the garage. Yeah, and that's the main body of the house.
Okay. In that case, if crossing the road is going to be an issue, so in what I'm going to recommend then is dropping actually closer to the Tigris, about due east from the Rassam residence, because then we don't have to deal with those people immediately.
Come in through the orchards towards the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're suggesting infiltration rather than bluff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just remember one thing. From the video, it looked like the amphora was heavy. It rocked when it was pushed, and it fell over with a quite distinct thunk against the side of the metal cage around it, but it looked heavy. So
Can I make a suggestion?
you're all
Mhm.
in the.
Yeah, I'm talking to them.
Oh, sorry.
During the points in the video where I know that Elam showed this warrant up several times in the faces of the people that he was being, is there any way that we can freeze frame on that warrant and see if there's a way to copy it and write our own,
Well, here
saying
comes
like this
to-
team is coming in to extract all the stuff from
Yeah.
there to take back to insert name or
Oh, okay. I see what
we
you're
were
saying.
discussing last time also, we haven't actually got into this at all, is the fake IDs that we can get. And you did mention the possibility of getting fake IDs for some quite senior sounding people
Yeah.
in organisations like the religious police. And,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So there are lots of possibilities here. Absolutely.
But that would also be a big target on our back. It's similar to what Agent. Sorry, I forgot what your bloody name is. Pink. No. Sandman. Suggested
Oh,
about
yes.
the hacking the phones and doing that trick,
Mm.
because it either way that's going to be a huge target on our back as soon as they find out. As soon as they find out, they're going to know our names and face, or fake names and faces.
What about
amphora is huge, right? But as soon as we have to lift that out the compound, any signs of deception or whatever are going to go out the window. We're going to have.
Well,
Well,
unless in the piece of paper we say we're here to collect everything.
But I think we have to go in with that, or that deception, if you like. We can't stealth it. Or we can't stealth out with like a.
Yeah, we can stealth in, but we can't get out.
And 10-foot lockers of tablets and journals that might be useful, and all kinds of other things.
We might need
it could be Al-Hazba.
Yeah, could be. No. Go for it.
Sorry, I didn't
hear. I was going to say we could pose as Al-Hazba. Did we not have on the video footage who had sent them in the first place? They had got identified, so it could be an update to remove them. So we use that as a cover.
Right.
Who's got good van for us?
They don't appear to have gone inside the compound. From the footage you're seeing, they are staying outside of the compound.
More the better for us.
My computer science is 50, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, who else got computer? You've got 60. Okay. Between the two of you, right. Sorry.
Where would we have to go? I think the idea of we're going to collect these artifacts to take them back to somewhere.
Yeah, I think
wouldn't we need to mention where we're taking those artifacts back to?
No, these soldiers need not know. If they ask, we tell them to get lost.
Right.
What we do is we try and go for enough, impinge enough authority onto it that we
make it ballsy enough.
Yeah.
That would be the approach I would think.
Yeah, and it's a need to know basis, and you don't need to know.
Exactly.
So I've just put in the chat the name.
Saeed, the Al-Hizbah religious police.
Yeah, so he's.
And I'm assuming, I don't know whether it's got like his signature or anything like that on it that we can potentially forge.
You can certainly. Yes, it has his signature on it. Yes, he is. That appears to be the person that has signed off the original search that happened on the 23rd of March.
Perfect.
So the only actually no, don't worry.
Can we check in with Steward, potentially Juliet, to see if this name has come up as somebody that's recently disappeared or something like that, so we don't turn up and it turns out that this guy's dead or something, and we've got his name on a piece of paper. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
If he's a big player.
That's not something that I have searched for at all. We can
Make a call and stick with the call.
yeah, we can do some investigation on that, as can you actually as well, because that would require signet checks to see if there's any intel intercepts that are picking that up, or
Okay.
potentially someone who might have contacts in the area, like Agent Khar, might be able to make a human check and contact someone who might know.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I've got SIGINT of 60. And so I can
Okay.
actually go
So-
through all those data logs.
So that could be definitely a route to try and figure that, to confirm that he is alive.
Okay. I will
but-
when we get a chance to do that.
Yeah,
That's what
okay.
I'll do.
Okay. Anyone got any? Have you got any other ideas of a basic plan? Then is it sounding like?
Yeah, we're gonna need false beards, or to grow
No, we
ours
don't.
out.
Well, no,
Well,
I
I'm-
think
It's already grown.
most of you've got most of you have got beards long enough. But yes, certainly you can be growing that out.
I think I might be growing mine for a while. I'll stick with a hijab. Thanks.
I've got what the British Navy call a full set. So- Because
Yeah.
in the British Navy, if you can't grow a full set, which your beard and your moustache join up, you're not allowed to have a beard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think are you able to see each other's bio-info sheets?
No.
Okay,
No,
I'll
just
share. I'm going to share. I'm just going to share them to players. I think this doesn't allow you to see character sheets. It just allows you to see the summaries, which you can see the bio-info. I think Agent Jones has got a bit of a longer beard than he's shown in the picture, as I think.
Also, I don't know if you've all seen, but if you go into the chat window, this is a new feature. If you go to the chat window and select speaking as, and select your character name, it'll put your picture in the bottom right, bottom left.
Oh.
And thanks
Yeah.
to Bruce for pinning that one.
What?
This,
Your picture of your character actually is shown in the chat when you type.
Oh,
Yes.
lovely.
When you type, it pings
Not,
up.
not just that, but the picture on the bottom left changes as well.
Yeah.
Which is quite.
Apart from, I've got a broken one for some reason.
Sorry, who's been typing as Alan? B. He's dead.
Certainly, he's
we
back
see.
from the dead. I think you'll
Right.
find.
Okay. I've can you actually
Oh,
see
you never know.
under characters? Can you now see the bio-info sheet for each of the other 5 members of your team?
No.
No.
Okay, that didn't work then.
No,
Okay,
never mind.
I'll
If you show to all players, it won't show us. It'll just show us the bio and
yeah.
the picture.
Can you all now see Agent Farmer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I'll just carry on doing the rest of that. Carry on chatting.
Oh yeah.
No worries.
Okay, so initial
So,
plan.
The initial
then
plan for this
is-
bit then is: do you want to infiltrate or do you want to blag?
I think you need to blag
Yeah.
because
Just
you need
because of the
some
way
real
out.
major heavy lifting going on here.
Yeah. So shall we try and arrange a airlift into a location close to Tigris on the appropriate side of the river, and we can drive in.
Yeah.
And if we blag, we might be able to persuade 27 or 30 people to help us do the
Shift
heavy
some
lifting.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We might be able to just Shanghai like 10 of them for
Mm.
lifting.
In that case, yeah, we do need to be west of the Rassam residence.
Yep.
Come out, join the road between Mosul and the residence, and then drive south to.
Yeah, that's an excellent plan.
Go in
Yeah.
there with confidence. They shouldn't
Actually,
expect
no.
questions, but
We
No,
won't get
we
shot.
don't
We won't
want-
get shot down by a
Yeah.
handheld.
Yeah.
Well,
We don't want to be driving.
no, I meant like when we're actually in front of them, not when you're just trundling
Oh.
down the road.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, we don't want to be coming down from Mosul. We want to be coming up from the airfield.
Maybe.
So
Oh,
we can say that
yeah.
we're taking it back.
No,
to the
they're in
airfield.
Mosul, aren't they?
No, so ISIL still control the airfield at the moment. Yeah. So if we're driving up from the
Where,
airfield,
At the
airfield?
conquest map.
Oh, apologies, I've got that mixed up.
Then, yeah. Though presumably there is an airport or airfield in Mosul. Is Mosul a local administrative centre?
Fort ISIL, yeah.
Well, in that case, it might well be coming. We might well be coming from Mosul, in actual fact.
then if we'd have to then return north. I suppose we'd return
Yeah, we'll
north
need a
from
pickup as well. We
west
need to
for a
arrange the
pickup.
pickup. So
And you right. Steward
Oh.
says I am not an expert on military matters, but from what I've gathered, there is I think there is far less conflict at the moment to the west of Route 1. Going east of it, between yourself and the Tigris River, I think that's going to cause more concern with the Air Force putting a helicopter in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say we drop off near the village of Gazale.
Yep.
Yep, I was looking at that one. Perfect.
Yeah. And then we have a pickup following day, same time. That gives us a 24-hour window to get in, get all the stuff, and get out.
Well, I'm
Because
hoping
we don't
that
want the helicopter waiting there for like an hour.
no.
or two.
That the helicopter will depart, it'll drop you off.
Yeah.
But then I can arrange a pickup. I'm assuming you'll take a satellite phone, says Steward.
Yeah,
I've
I
got
would say
one.
that was more appropriate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's also better to have a plan that doesn't rely on communications. That
Yeah.
there will be a pickup at some point somewhere.
actually
And you
very
can always
true.
phone it
Okay.
in early.
Certainly.
Backup time.
Yeah.
Certainly. Okay. Right. So, what?
But surely the first step is to then do the SIG-in and humans to find out this
Okay.
guy, just to get our cover story straight first.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I believe
to
it
get
is
our-
Agent Khar, Agent Farmer. I
Mhm.
think Agent Sandman. Is that right?
And then we also
Yep.
need to ensure
Yeah.
that our covers are solid as well.
That's something I can't really
Which-
help too much with.
right.
No,
well,
but
I probably can.
Steward was going to take the lead on the identities, but by all means, if one of you wants to help, then that's absolutely fine. Just to answer, right? I need to.
So, Khar, if you help with work with Steward, because both of you have local knowledge.
Yeah, I'm probably quite good on the the
Sorry,
actual physical
Stu-
forging. I'm not so good on, but the legend I would be better on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, Steward can do the legend, can do the forging bit. She's not an expert in the local area at all.
Right.
Oh,
the-
there you
I'll
go.
help with
Yeah,
legend.
Khar. Yeah. So
I mean,
Khar and Steward work together on that.
yeah. The three agents, your three backup agents, clearly will never. It's going to be very difficult for them to try and pass as local to the area.
Yes.
Right. Right. Agent Farmer, you spend some time, and this is this is using up a chunk of time. This takes several hours to do. Trawling through various intercepts. Your skill is high enough to do it. I don't require a roll. You do pick up some some references to Daud El Said. They appear to be timed for the 24th. Most of them are on the day of the 24th of March, so the day after the this incident took place, and it appears that he was arrested by the Am al Dalwa, which is the
That religious police.
no.
That's Al Hisba.
Oh yes, Al Hosbar, isn't it? Yeah.
Where's it gone? Counterintelligence. That is ISIL counterintelligence. And he was arrested by them and interrogated. And what you pick up is a number of conversations where people are discussing why he's been arrested and what exactly is going on.
Okay, what does that give me?
That he was arrested on the 24th. There are then some discussions. Sorry, it wasn't the morning, it was the afternoon, sorry, of the 24th, for relevance sake. He is then released at some point late on the 24th, because there are intercepts of people discussing this, and this appears to have caused some kind of consternation amongst certain ISIL figures whose phones are being tracked. And then
what was he arrested for?
That is not clear. And then he appears to have reappeared later on that day. There are conversations about saying he's being released.
Is he still in position?
It's yes on the 24th. Whether he is after that, you can find no further record. He appears to have ceased being a subject of discussion on discussions between people.
I do wonder if the counterintelligence service have sent people to Rassam's house. That could be a
That's
little
who's
bit
surrounding
more
them.
tricky.
On
Yeah.
on the related incidents page, it says there that the incident at Rassam's house was reported to ISIL counterintelligence by the ISIL religious police. So they actually reported it to them, and that's who's currently surrounding them.
So Daud was
Okay.
covering his back then.
I think
Okay.
Daud's name is Burn. Like, we can't use that, but
Mud.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, if we can find out if he's still in position or not, then. But you're right, because he's reported it and he's been interrogated on what happened, because he was the one who ordered the arrest of Rassam. So we need to find out. Can we find out a player on the counterintelligence side, like middle management, that we can actually blame and say that we're working on their orders? So who if it's counterintelligence who've got the 27 on site, can we find out who that is?
Hmm.
The only thing is, if someone checks, if we give a specific
Yeah.
name, then someone might check with that specific person and phone up and object to, why did you send these idiots around here? In which case we're blown.
Yeah.
So
On the related incidents document, it actually gives you at the end the name of the head of ISIL counterintelligence in Mosul.
Yeah. Am al-Dawla.
No,
Sorry, no,
that's the
that is the
organisation.
name of it. Sorry,
It-
Ahmed al-Jabiri.
Yep.
Is the
Andy, in my
that's a
judgment,
big
if
name to throw about.
sorry,
Yeah.
let you finish.
Big name. Yeah, it
No,
is
no.
a big name.
Go on, Chris.
In my character judgment, given that I know quite a lot about these cultures and areas, if a bunch of people carrying the appropriate ID started throwing their weight around the place, would they be expected to provide their boss's identification or anything like that?
ISIL is very much a community, a culture of fear. So if you turn up and say, we have been told to do this, it's going to be... It depends on who is guarding there. If they're regular soldiers, they probably will not bat an eyelid. If they're counterintelligence wouldn't...
Bit loose of a term, isn't it?
Yeah.
Counterintelligence, if we take the example of like armed forces elsewhere, they would be officers and they wouldn't have like standard people guarding an area. They would be the ones doing the research and leading the soldiers.
Okay, so reading the situation in this right manner, who do I think would be guarding
Right.
something after an event like this?
Sorry, you would know, actually, sorry, slightly counter to what Tom's just said.
Okay.
The ISIL counterintelligence that has boots on grounds with guns, yeah, but they're not vast in numbers, and Stewart's count is 27 people guarding that residence. That's a lot. That's a lot of people to put in place from the counterintelligence forces that will be in ISIL. Okay, so someone else had another question as well.
Yeah, in my judgment, since I know a bit about the organisation, who do I think after an event like a social media star got killed, something very strange happened, who would be put in charge, especially given that they're not going into the building? They probably wouldn't just get an ordinary military, maybe they would, I don't know.
I think the answer for that is actually in the related incident document. It looks like this
I need to read that again.
Certainly this Ahmed al-Jabiri guy seems to be very influential in the city. But then actually that's not just him, to be fair. There's another organization called Aman al-Dakili, which is internal security. So there's an organization within ISIL called EMNI, EMNI, and that's their secret service that has 4 branches. Aman al-Askari, which is special operations. Aman al-Dakili, which is internal security. Aman al-Dawala, which is counterintelligence, and Aman al-Kajari, which is foreign operations.
Can you put those in the chat for
Yeah,
me, please?
certainly.
Yeah, thank you. That'll be.
Yeah.
I'm never going to remember that.
No, certainly.
Sorry, yeah.
And these are all options for you guys to pose as.
Okay.
Turning to Stuart for a second, how many covers and legends can you make?
I have the setup to do 1 each for you at the present moment, but I can do more if needed with time.
Give us that one each, and then start. No, when you have chance, start working on secondaries for us, just in case.
Certainly. We need to work out what you want to be for those initial ones, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you want, I can use the same identity and give you papers saying you're different things.
Mm.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And then just to remind you, you've also got
Foreign operation.
and then
I feel like the one that kind of makes sense is internal security.
Yeah.
If
all of us.
suddenly there's people dead in this place, they're going in and kind of going, well, there's something dangerous here.
Yeah,
Let's-
that makes a lot of sense
Let's
to me.
remove it and maybe make a weapon out of it. Maybe I don't know.
just to be clear, all of the organisations I said, bar the very last one that I've put in there, are male only. The last one is female only. Yeah.
Yeah,
So let's go back to the actual Legend ID stuff. There's you could pose as a citizen, just a normal citizen who lives in Mosul. Yeah, you could have an identity set up that. You could be an inspector from Al-Hibash, which is a religious police, or the female equivalent, which is this Al-Kahanza brigade. Al-Kahanza is really small, though. So
Yep.
Well, I think
that would need to be set up as you not being from Mosul, because they would all know each other by sight, by name,
Yeah.
in Mosul.
Yeah.
And then, so you've got an officer, Aman al-Dakiri, which is that's the secret police. They're responsible for maintaining law and order. You've got Aman al-Askari. So they're in charge of reconnaissance and special operations. That is also quite small. So the view is you'd need to be set up as being assigned to Mosul from Raqqa, just in case you meet anyone else from that unit, from that organization. There's Aman al-Dawala is the counterintelligence. So they're in charge of finding traitors and spies. Once again, that's quite small. It would probably be advised for you to be from Raqqa, assigned to Mosul. And then Al-Qajiri, Aman Al-Qajiri, Department of Special Operations conducted outside the Caliphate. So that is all based in Raqqa. So you would once again be opposing someone from Raqqa. Okay, but that if you're from the Special Operations one or the Reconnaissance and Special Operations, so Askari and Kajari, that will raise questions as to what you're doing and why you're here. The logical ones are the internal security and the counterintelligence, or
Yeah.
just the religious
internal
police.
security.
Does it have to
feels like
be all of us from one thing, or
Nope.
can it be a mix? Because if I'm thinking, if we have some people coming from internal security, some people from counterintelligence, and then maybe myself from the, well, I
I
can't
think you
think of
probably-
any other way in there except
I
if
think-
I was going to go
think-
in as a, yeah, go on,
You've got Hobson's choice there, I think.
yeah.
Or you
I
could
think
just
I've
be
only got one choice.
you could do something.
Unless somebody else goes as a civilian that's there to do, I don't know, research or something, and I go as their daughter, wife, whatever, and then I'm not tied to the Al-Hansa
That's a
brigade.
possibility, actually, yeah.
If we
Good idea.
did it as a
But somebody
as
would have to
one
be a
person
civilian.
as some sort of academic
Yeah,
archaeologist
that's what I was thinking.
type, and their assistant, which is yourself. Somebody from,
I don't know.
and then
Could I get
people
away
from
with assistant, Andy?
Probably
If I-
not. No.
Yeah.
The way it works, I mean, just bear in mind that I still regard anything pre Islam as idolatrous. So there isn't really archaeology practiced within. They simply identify and destroy.
Enjoy it.
Maybe someone's just coming in to be surveying like the building structure.
I was thinking that. Yes, someone's interested in the house, aren't they? Rather expensive, nice house.
Yeah.
Someone in the organisation might want to live there, perhaps.
There's certainly
Accompanying the team who is there to remove the artifacts, there is also a structural surveyor who's there to.
that could be me. I mean, I'm an architect. I could at least sound like I know what I'm talking about.
always a good one to sound like you know what you're talking about.
That'd be a first.
Yeah, exactly. Oi! Good job. I love you, isn't it, B?
Well,
Right. So, is it? So I'm just conscious of the time. That might be a good point to pause, and then we can just carry on discussions offline and work out who's going to be what.
Suggest that's a good idea. Then we can get
Yeah.
started
Just
next
drop
time
it
with
back.
the
With
mission.
mission. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent idea.
Because it could be a mix. It might be worth all of you having some sort of identity that's giving you some sort of I'm important, leave me alone for normal ISIL members.
Well, yeah. I actually want to have two of the IDs. I want a normal leave me alone ID, and I want a I'm irrelevant leave me alone ID. But if you haven't got time, then
Stuart can get that sorted, and something as simple as a resident of Mosul.
Yeah.
That would be much quicker as a secondary one, and she could do that for all of you.
I think that'd be a good idea in an emergency. Then we can tend to be nobody.
Let's discuss this because we need to just have a quick conversation about various characters' ages and whether Agent Hawk is posing as someone's daughter or wife or whatever, and because obviously names need to be coordinated and stuff like that. But should we leave it there for tonight, and then we'll go. So thank you everyone for watching this. Anyone who's watching this, and there will be another episode in a few weeks' time. But thank you very much, and goodbye for now.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.